If you're catching this in the replay, this is really important. Skip ahead to 5 minutes. That's where we're stopped. That's where we're starting on the topic that you came here to see, the worst Halloween candy. If you're here live, this is the pump up period. This is where we get all excited and get ready, get the energy up for this stream. Today we're talking about the worst Halloween candies out there. You know, what are the things that, and I'll get into more of this topic later. No, and you know, at 5 minutes at 7:30, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But let's talk about next week's topic, because I think that one's going to be a really good one. Now, let's see who we got in the stream here. Say hi if you're there. Let's get pumped up, guys. Let's get ready to talk about some Halloween candy, and we'll do some shout outs and we'll do all that good stuff. You guys know how we do it here. All right. So for next week's stream, and I'll repeat this later on because this is a really important one. You guys know Halloween is here, okay? Next week's stream is the official Halloween party. We're doing a Halloween party. I'm gonna pop open a bottle of one of my favorite wines in the world, and we're gonna have a glass or two. And I don't know. I'm gonna get crazy with it. I'm thinking either make it open and give out the stream, the link to join the stream to anybody, you know, or everybody that I'm connected with, because I want people to pop in the stream. I want to set a time and just be here and talk and hang out and just have a big old Halloween party. I have a costume, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. So that's kind of what we're looking at for next week. And I'll get into a little bit more of that after we talk about the worst Halloween candies, because Halloween's an important holiday, I think, for those who celebrate, who take how do I want to say this? Who partake in the Halloween arts. How's everybody doing? Let's see who we got in the live chat. Got a big old goose egg. I'm here talking to myself, but that is okay, because the way this works is anybody can bump into the stream. We have just another couple of minutes until we get going here. Crazy week it's been. It's been nice and warm here in upstate New York. I don't know where you're located in the world, but if you are noticing it seasonably warm, I agree. There's in the live chat, there's buttons for super chat and super sticker. Those things go, when you give money via those things, it goes into development for the channel and new features and things like that. So that's appreciated as well. You don't have to. You can just hang out and participate. But all the help we can get is appreciated. Something remarkable is actually happening here on the channel this week. Somehow, a previous live stream got picked up in a Google search, and it's the #1 search term for steak tartare. And I've gotten 4,000 views on that video, over like almost 5,000 views on that video, which is ridiculous. And the channel is monetized, and I don't even want to get into the amount of money that brought in, but it's basically raised the level of everything else that's getting views right now, which is insane, because things are starting to take off, and I think that is amazing. So we got just another minute here, and then we'll get right into the Halloween candies. And I've been compiling this all over the internet, social media. I've done a lot of research, and I've done a lot of research in my candy eating days. So, and I do understand that when I tell people 7:30, I don't expect people. So this is the special time. This is the early crew. This is where all the cool peeps show up. And for that, I appreciate you. So let's get going here. We got 30 seconds till we get going. Let's grab a sip of water, because we're going to do a lot of talking. Looks like I got some comments. A little lag. Maya, Smaz TV. Thanks a lot for your comments. Run through them quickly, but I'll give you guys shout outs during the stream too, if you want. Well, not if you want. I'll do it anyway, but all right, let's get rid of these banners. Get rid of the comment. Good evening. What is the worst Halloween candy out there? And what I want to talk about tonight, and we're going to do this in laid back fashion because that is how we do it here. But the whole purpose of this conversation is Halloween is here. We're a week and a half away. I have a special stream planned for next week. But what I wanted to talk about tonight is what is the worst Halloween candy? And now I'm going to set some criteria for what I'm going to talk about here. The first being this topic. The purpose of this topic is to talk about what were the candies that fell to the bottom of your candy bag or basket when you were a trick-or-treater. What were the things that you tended to eat last? And I've been on social media kind of asking all my followers and all my friends, for their input on this stuff. You'll be amazed. There's a lot of things that commonly pop up, and I'm sure you've probably seen those time after time. We're going to talk about each of those as well. But the first thing I have to say, and I got to get this out of the way, total disclaimer, this topic is for fun. Last week, I went on a rant about how I wasn't going to judge anybody for their taste in food or taste in anything really, because those things are what shapes us as individuals. So the purpose of what I'm trying to talk about tonight is not to judge you for what you like. There are candies that are on my list that I actually do enjoy a little bit. So I'm not going to, and when I say my list, this is just stuff I've compiled over the internet. So do not take anything as personal shots fired. That is not what we're trying to do here. We're just trying to get to the bottom of, if you're a trick-or-treater, what is the optimal candy bag? Okay. Because there are candies, and when we get through this list, you'll see that there's candies that nobody in their right mind wanted. Okay. So let's get into it a little bit. The first thing I wanted to talk about, and I have a little bit of show and tell. I want to talk about Halloween candy and buying Halloween candy in 2021. So these are two varieties of Halloween candy that are available at Target. Now I had to go on the Target website, not sponsored at all, but notice, okay, so this first one, Three Musketeers, Starburst, Snickers, M&Ms. I would say the outlier there is either the weird flavor Starburst or the Three Musketeers to get to the Snickers and M&Ms. And I would probably wager to guess that this is probably mostly Three Musketeers. The next one, Baby Ruth, 100 Grand, Butterfinger, and Crunch. I mean, that's kind of a four-way tie for last place a little bit. But I would say in that one, the Baby Ruth is the one that is kind of the oddball out. This one here, Milky Way, Three Musketeers, Twix, Snickers. I think it's safe to say that Twix and Snickers are the more popular one there. Here we have Sour Patch Kids, Reese's, Swedish Fish, Twizzlers, Reese's Pieces, Kit Kat. That's a hard one, but I would say probably Swedish Fish is probably the low man on the totem pole on that one. And then this last one, this one's a little more obvious. Reese's, Kit Kat, Heath, Whoppers, Milk Duds, Rolo. People really don't like Whoppers. And Milk Duds is also one of those other ones. So you can see that, if you're gonna commit to buying one of these types of candy, you're gonna run into an issue where you got kids that are gonna be upset no matter what. But I got one more to show you, and that is right here, Child's Play. This one has Tootsie Rolls, Juniors, snack bars, whatever that means, Mini Dots, Tootsie Pops, Tootsie Fruit Chews. If you're the house that buys this, you're going to make a lot of kids upset. I mean, and we're going to get all of those are on the list that I'm going to talk about tonight. I am going to put myself back there, and we are going to get into this. So what I'd like for you to do is in the live chat, I'm gonna frequently check in on the live chat. What I want you to do is put in your opinions for the worst Halloween candies. I put a poll in the live chat. I want you to answer that. It seems unanimous that the number one Halloween candy is Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Do you agree with this? Yes or no? And we'll end that poll at the end of the stream, and we'll kind of get to the bottom of that because I love Reese's just like the next person. I don't know that I agree with that. So that is what I'd like you to do in the chat, and I'll get back frequently into the chat, and we'll pull up stuff that I might have missed because I can't cover everything here, guys. I mean, as much as I'd like to, it's just impossible. I am one person, and I am trying to control all these screens. You should see what's going on here. But anyway, let's get back to the topic. All right. Number one, and I have to get this one out of the way immediately. And I'm actually not going to count this as a Halloween candy. And I'll tell you why in a second. Candy corn. Yes, candy corn is available around Halloween. Yes, candy corn is that thing that everybody loves to hate nowadays. But if everybody really hated it as much as they said they hated it, why are people buying these pound bags of candy corn? Because they wouldn't make them if people aren't buying them. So I'll get into that. But personally, I don't think I've ever actually received candy corn as a trick or treat. Now my memory might be just completely shot here, but I don't remember actually like opening up my trick or treat bag and getting candy corn as an actual treat. And that's just one of those things. So candy corn is the first one we're going to talk about. We got it out of the way. So if you guys are in the live chat, I have no problem with you hating on candy corn. I just, part of me doesn't understand where all this hate came from all of a sudden. Candy corn was never good. But it also, I don't want to consider it as part of this list because it's not really, I'm saying it's not really a list. I'm going to go through individual stuff. But a candy that I used to get a lot as a kid that I think is pretty poor, it's a pretty bad candy, is sugar babies. Who remembers sugar babies? Sugar babies were these little like nuggets of, they were almost shaped like raisinets, but they were in this like yellow orange package, and they were literally just like little bites of like bad caramel, crystallized caramel. So I don't know. So sugar babies is one. There's just no. It just isn't good. It almost tastes like cheap wannabe chocolate. So that sugar babies is one that I got to name because I remember getting those, and like I'll talk about my Halloween ritual in just a second. But sugar babies was never the first thing I went for. Okay, I don't. If you went for sugar babies, I mean it is what it is. But anyway, so sugar babies is one, and to go with sugar babies, sugar daddy, and I have Jared in the chat here. Sugar daddy is another one. Sugar daddy was a good candy, and that's the next one on my list. But the issue that I had with sugar daddy is that they varied in staleness because of the way that they were packaged. I don't know how to describe this properly, but you know, when you get the ones that are nice and kind of like almost melted a little bit, those were really good. But when you get them when they're a little bit harder and they actually snap, like those are terrible. And that was one of those things. And I think it's also safe to say that a lot of ones that come on a stick are kind of, with the exception of blow pop, are kind of on the lower end of the totem pole of the candy spectrum. One that came in a lot on my social media was Three Musketeers. And I think I can understand it. I think part of the problem is Three Musketeers has gone through a lot of changes. I don't think it's quite as good as it used to be. The chocolate doesn't quite taste right anymore. The nougat inside is way more airy than it used to be. Is it? I mean, is it even a nougat? What would you call that? It's like a whipped chocolate air thing. I don't know. I Three Musketeers isn't the same candy bar it used to be, and I almost feel like even those small sizes, you lose kind of the integrity of the actual candy. And I know my brother Dom was on Instagram talking about this, that the Reese's cups even are smaller and the chocolate isn't of the same quality. I think that's also true for Three Musketeers. I would not go to the store. Three Musketeers is not I would never buy a full size Three Musketeers bar. So I'm not going to test that theory. And Greg and Erin, this is I all of these are on the list. We'll get to all of that. Don't worry. So Three Musketeers is one that came up a lot. I can understand the hate. So let's get that out of the way. In the thumbnail, you guys saw the Tootsie Roll. Tootsie Roll is one of those candies that I don't quite understand. And I think it's kind of similar to the sugar daddy in that when you get one that's soft, it's actually not bad, but I can't stomach too many of those. Not that it make me sick, but I want the nice rich chocolate or the nice like candy stuff. Whereas the Tootsie Roll was more like a muted chocolate flavor, and then you had to chew it a lot, and then they gave you different sizes. There were ones that had like a paper, like a card stock that it was packed on, that had little indentations of where you're supposed to bite it, and then you had the other ones with that were individually wrapped, and then there were longer ones that were individually wrapped. So that's kind of one of those um really weird candies that you get that falls to the bottom of the bag. But then there were also, like, the alternate flavor Tootsie Rolls, and, like, I think there's a vanilla one, there's a lemon one, I think, and I don't remember all the flavors of that, but I really I think that the vanilla ones weren't quite as bad as the chocolate ones. I think the chocolate ones, they just got played out. A lot of people actually, were giving those out because you get more pieces. Like, I think, going back to my little, do I even have it open still? Going back to my little thing here, uh, you got, it doesn't say the number of pieces on it. Oh, 6.4 pounds. Jeez. That is a lot of Tootsie Rolls and Plan B candies. One that I used to get a lot that I thought was weird is the little packets of fruit snacks, like the little gel fruit snacks that you would take like in a lunchbox. Like some people used to give those out as Halloween candy, and I think on some of the healthier brands, you can actually get those in Target or your local drugstore, or anywhere where you buy your Halloween candy um, stock. But yeah, fruit snacks is another one that was weird. What was weird about it was they would always fall to the bottom of the bag and then get crushed up by everything else that was on top of it. So those little gel fruit snacks were strange. One that came up, oh, I forgot to actually say this. Okay. So a definition that we have to make here is that what we're talking about tonight is factory sealed packaged candy, because there were always those people that tried to make stuff, like the popcorn balls, and package them themselves, or even like other treats. And those people meant really well, but after the 80s, there was all the talk about tampering with stuff, and um, no parent was going to let their kid mess around with that unless they really trusted the person. So we're not talking about that. And another one, and I'm gonna talk about it here because so many people actually brought it up, is pennies. And I remember in the neighborhood we used to have people who maybe they ran out of candy, or maybe they didn't go out and get candy, or maybe they just didn't want to upset kids who came to the door. They would go get like a piggy bank and give you some change. Um, we're not talking about that tonight. We're talking about the worst candies. That is in spirit one of the worst trick or treats, but that's not what we're talking about here. Getting back to the candies, though, Smarties is another one of those things. And what I'm talking about here are the United States Smarties. In the UK, Smarties actually refer to something that's a candy coated chocolate, just like M&Ms. In the US, Smarties come in like a cellophane tube, and they're these little like powdered flavored candies that are kind of chalky. Um, they're the type of thing that you can eat one or two of them, like packs of them, and then after that you have the highest sugar, like the biggest sugar high, and you just get sick of them quickly. And I got a lot of those back in the day, but there's actually one worse than Smarties, and it's called Fizzers. Fizzers come in the same package as Smarties. The candies are the same shape as Smarties. They come in very similar flavors as Smarties, but they fizz in your mouth. And I was actually talking with some friends on Twitter about this. I feel like that is the ultimate like Halloween candy, because it not only satisfies the treat, but it also satisfies the trick part of the social contract of trick or treat. Because you think you're getting this candy that, is nice and sweet and stuff, and then it's fizzing in your mouth like an Alka Seltzer. So there's a trick. So you got the trick and the treat. Next up, Twizzlers, but the off shapes. Did you ever notice when you open up the Twizzlers that are smaller for the trick or treat size, they're not the same licorice as the Twizzlers that you get at the movie theater or, in the supermarket. They have like the edges are like deeper, like the it's hard to describe this as well, but they're chewier, they snap easier, they're more waxy. They're not they don't have that deep, rich, fake strawberry taste. And I don't know, something is not right about those as well. So any licorice that's like the off shape of the Twizzler, but they do sell individually packaged Twizzlers that the regular length ones, the ones that you bite off both ends and use it as a straw, and those are fine. But it's the shorter ones that have like deeper wells. That's a weird one. Pixie sticks, and I think this one. That's what my dad. This is my dad, Domenick. The powdered candy in a straw. Those are called pixie sticks, and that's a weird one to get. And the reason why I think that's a weird one is because the paper packaging always freaked me out. You could imagine that, like, if those got a little bit wet, that the candy inside would get wet with a little bit of whatever that got wet with, right? So the paper was always a weird thing. Like, I can't think of too many other Halloween candies that actually were packaged in paper. I'm trying to think now. While I take a quick pondering break, I will take a sip. And I have a quite a lot longer list here, but let me go into the chat and let's pull up some of these comments that you guys left. Somebody said butterfingers. Yeah, but I was talking about to Cassie about this last night. Something about butterfinger is just not a good candy bar to me. The chocolate's not right, and when you eat through it, it has too much. It gets too stuck in your teeth too much. So yeah, I think butterfinger is not a great candy. I'll eat butterfingers all day. Like, and actually, most of this stuff, if you had a bowl of it, I'd be sitting there eating it. So I could be a hater and talk about this for YouTube all I want, but at the end of the day, it is we're all kids at heart, right? Lollipops, and I think that goes along with my assertion that all the ones on a stick were kind of weird. Let's see here. Boston baked bean candy. It tasted bitter and burned. I don't know that I've actually had those actually. So I can't commiserate with that. But I'll take your word for it. I've seen them. I've never gotten that as a Halloween candy. Let's see here. Gotta address Dominick's comment here. Candy corn's amazing. It's the pineapple on pizza of candy. I expected you to answer something like that. We talked about the sugar babies. And these I said we're getting back to Almond Joy. Let me see. Almond Joy isn't quite the one that came up, but I'll talk about this one in just a second too. Let's see. The red hot cinnamon balls. Those I think those are kind of middle of the road. I think those are a good Halloween candy because they break up the monotony of the chocolate and other, fruity candy type stuff. And you didn't get those as much as you got everything else. Fun Dip. I never got Fun Dip as a Halloween candy. It's a candy, but I think that was too elaborate of a candy. In our neighborhood, and this is my friend Greg. He's on his wife's YouTube account. In my neighborhood, I lived near Annabelle and kind of in the Robin Meadows area of Middletown, and we didn't have too many baller families that were giving out like full candy bars or anything like that. So I don't think that those. I never got Fun Dip as a Halloween candy. We'll kind of leave it at that. And $1 Million Bar, Cousin Roseanne. I don't know that I've ever gotten that as a Halloween candy. So I can't really comment on that one. But let me get back into the list here. So my dad brought up, where is it? Almond Joy, but one that came in a lot, and I think I understand this one because I think Almond Joy is actually a good candy. but its sister candy, Mounds, is a hated candy. I think it has to do with the fact that the dark chocolate is not a good dark chocolate. And I'm not being a snob and saying that you got to go to, get the Belgian 75% dark chocolate. And I get it. This is Halloween candy, but something about the Mounds dark chocolate, I feel like the Mounds should have the almond in it, and the milk chocolate with almond joy would work better without the almond. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit crazy on that. So anyway, that was one that came up a lot, and I wanted to address that while we were there. Now here's one that came in from my buddy Metal Frog that it really puzzled me, because I didn't think that this was actually something people were giving out as a candy, and that is dinner mints. And what I envisioned in my mind was, a 70-year-old woman with a bowl full of dinner mints and a spoon, and putting them in your bag. But I guess Metal Frog as a kid used to get dinner mints a lot. Um, I would say that's a pretty deplorable candy. If you're one of those people who gives out dinner mints, I guess I started off the stream saying I wasn't going to judge you, but if you're going to give unwrapped candy, you gotta just turn the light off and don't give out candy, because nobody's kids are going to eat that. Another one that I saw in the chat here a couple times is gum. Any type of gum, I think, is a bad Halloween candy, because if you for you to partake in the gum, it means you can't eat any of the other candy. So like it's almost like a diversion. I think it's more of the trick than the treat. I don't know. I think gum is not a good candy. And there were a lot of gums. You would get bazooka gum back in the day. Do they even make bazooka anymore? I don't even know. Double bubble was another one that would come individually packaged. Very weird, very weird thing to give gum. Did not like getting gum. I think the first thing I would do when I got home with my trick or treat bag, what would be to just take the gum and put it somewhere else. I'm pretty sure I even threw it out, even though I don't like to throw out anything. One that came up a lot was Bit O Honey. And this is one that in my neighborhood wasn't a big thing, but I do remember getting it a couple times. It's a honey taffy with little bits of almonds in it. And it's just I think that one's not a good one, because it's not what do you call it? Because it's not a popular candy. I think it's one of those candies that maybe was like big in the 1960s or even earlier, probably. But yeah, Bit of Honey was not a good one. Here's the one that came up earlier and we're getting to some of the ones that Greg brought up. Dots. Actually, the Halloween version is mini dots. So dots are what do they call it? What those things? Like they're not non-perils. They're gumdrops. They're gumdrops. So they're the type of thing that you decorate a gingerbread house with. They're good. They're just too hard and sticky. And Roseanne, I think you missed the part where I said that we're talking about the candies that would fall to the bottom of the Halloween bags. So dots are one of those where I think it's not a great candy, because also there's the staleness factor. They usually came packed in a cardboard package, and by the time you got them, you might have even gotten last year's, and it was as hard as hell to bite through it. That wasn't a very good one. And then we have a couple that also came in that are kind of in the same vein, and I saw them in the chat earlier too as well. One of them is Good and Plenty. We're going with the conjunction ones now. Good and Plenty and Now and Later. They were two very different candies, but Good and Plenty were like strangely shaped jelly beans that had a specific flavor. And there's the hot tamales, and then there's another brand of those. This is not a thesis on candy and relation of candy, but Good and Plenty, they came in like a pink / purple and white package, and they just weren't a great Halloween candy. I never liked getting those. Now and Later were these little like square things. They almost looked like Jolly Ranchers, but they were more square than rectangle. And they were kind of more like a chewy taffy that came in different flavors. And I think those also like suffered from the staleness factor. And now here's the one that I think is going to get a lot of hate here is Milk Duds. And I'm not saying that I don't like Milk Duds. I think Milk Duds is a perfectly good candy. But I think because you get the the cardboard factor again, they get really hard and they're just hard to eat. Especially what I used to do with my Halloween candy was first go home, lay it all out, inventory the whole thing. Then I would portion out what I was going to eat on Halloween on October 31st. And then it was a very strange ritual. I'm telling you right now, I would literally portion it out so that whatever, however much candy I had lasted me the until Thanksgiving. And then Thanksgiving Day, I would have the last pieces of Halloween candy. I think I started this when I was around 10 or 11. I don't know what in my mind made me start that whole ritual. But it was just something that I did. But Milk Duds is definitely one of those ones that I first would go for. So let's go back to the chat here. I saw a lot of comments come in while I was talking about this. The orange, black, yellow peanut butter candies. Yeah, what are those called? I forgot what those are called. They're almost packaged like peanut butter cups, but they're weird. Like I definitely remember those. Let's see here. Do I remember the York bar? I do not. The York peppermint patty bar. That must be what you're talking about. Of course. I mean, how do you not remember the peppermint patty? Bubblegum's the best. I don't hate bubblegum. What I'm saying is that like it's a diversion from the whole Halloween candy. Because if you're gonna pop a piece of bubblegum, you're gonna eat that for a few minutes, and that means you're not gonna eat candy during that time. Bazooka. So my dad's saying they make bazooka gum. Same thing from Greg here. Bit of honey, terrible depression candy. I think that might be both literal and figurative. I haven't gotten to Mary Jane's yet, but we're going to talk about that one in just a minute. Lollipops we got again. Peanut butter kisses. I don't remember those. Can't say I remember those. And then my dad, the ice cube chocolates. Yeah, that was a really good chocolate. But I never got those as Halloween candy. That might have been more for during your time. You were a good 72 years ahead of me on that. All right. So we got a couple more to work through here, and then we're going to name what the worst Halloween candy of all time is. And we're going to go back to the poll and find out what you guys voted on. Don't forget to vote on that poll. I want to find out if you guys that are in the chat think that that Reese's peanut butter cup is the greatest Halloween candy like the internet would have you believe. Because I don't know that that's true. I mean, I guess they would know because they have sales data. Necco wafers. Who remembers the Necco wafers? They would come in the long tube that you would buy in the store, but the Halloween version was like a little, like almost like a third of a roll of quarters. And I never understood the allure of Necco wafers. It was almost like they were Smarties that tasted like nothing. So Necco wafers was definitely one that I didn't like very much. And then Mary Jane's. Mary Jane's is another one in that family of like taffy style candy. I think it's more of a peanut butter taffy. And I don't remember hating Mary Jane's, but they weren't as common in my neighborhood. I think in my neighborhood we used to get a lot of the knockoff candy, like the Balmer. Remember Dom, the Balmer candy, that like chocolate that is like 0% cocoa that you get at Rite Aid, that comes with like wrapped like eyes and other monster parts. We used to get a lot of that. We used to get a decent amount, I think, of the Mars candy and Hershey's stuff, but not a whole lot of Mary Jane's. And what was the other one? I should have written this one in the notes. Mary Jane. Anyway, I don't remember what it was. So I'm going to name what I think, in my opinion, is the worst candy of all time. First, let me close up the poll. If you didn't get a chance to vote, tough. So what does it say? Where'd it go? I thought it's supposed to tell me the results of the poll. Oh, there we go. All right. So with 9 votes, and by the way, if you haven't hit like on the video, please do so. We have 55% of the people in the stream who have been in the stream say no, and 44% yes. So I guess that means that people don't believe the internet, and I think that's a good thing. I think if you put all your faith in the internet, I think you are setting yourself up for a disappointing life. So, Jared Storm, peanut butter kisses used to be made by Necco. Yeah, I don't. I guess I don't exactly remember. So the worst out of everything I named, in the stream here, what I'm going to say is the worst candy of all time is Fizzers. I hated getting those because they always faked me out, because Smarties are bad enough, and you open up a pack of Smarties and you start eating them, and it's like, okay, fine, I'm eating this candy, it tastes fine, it's just I'd rather be eating like a Twix or a Snickers. But then you get faked out by the fact that it's Fizzers that look like Smarties, they're packed like Smarties. You bite into them, they feel like they're Smarties, and then they start fizzing in your mouth like Alka-Seltzer. Absolutely awful. And like I said earlier, I think that particular candy delivers on both the trick and the treat. It's more trick than treat, as opposed to everything else that you get at Halloween being a treat. I guess I could have done this stream talking about these, if whether or not it's a trick or a treat. We got my new friend Miles in the building. Hey, buddy, what's up? How you doing? So yeah, I think most of these are treats. The Fizzers, I think, delivers more on trick than treat, and that is why I'm calling that the worst Halloween candy of all time. And that is my story, and I'm sticking to it. So let's see. Any last thoughts on Halloween candy? Anything that I missed that you think I need to talk about? My dad's saying I need to talk about Pez. I never got Pez as a Halloween candy. I used to get me those in the supermarket all the time. I remember having a lot of superhero Pez dispensers. I think I might have even had some Looney Tunes, but I don't remember ever anybody actually putting that in my Halloween basket or Halloween bag. Let's talk about next week's stream, because it's going to be a special one. So next week is going to be the Halloween party here on the channel, and I'm going to get crazy with it. So number 1, I'm going to be in costume. So that's number 1. Number 2, I'm calling it the Halloween special, and I'm going to pop a bottle of my favorite wine. I'll have a glass of wine on the stream, and here's where we're going to get crazy with it. We're going to get weird with it. Anybody who wants to actually appear on the stream or call in audio only, I'm going to have you on the stream. So reach out to me over the next week, and I'll send you the link to that so that you can join. All you need is a cell phone or a computer with a camera. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Next week, same time. Let's talk about what we got coming up here on the channel. We got tomorrow the last video from the Outer Banks. Monday, I got my recap from People of Video, which is my review of the Mr. Beast chicken sandwich. You guys are not going to want to miss that one. And next Thursday is going to be that Halloween party. I don't want to make it too structured. Like even tonight, I feel like I made it a little bit too structured because I wanted to talk specifically about the candy. But what I want next week to be is that was what it was. Miles, you got it. Now and Laters. I talked about those. There was one that I couldn't remember what it was. But anyway, it slipped my mind. Maybe it was like Now and Later, but I don't know. I can't remember. But next week we're going to have special guests on the stream. I'm going to reach out to a few people that I really want to appear on the stream. Wine is optional, obviously. If you want to partake in the Halloween party, obviously that is going to be your prerogative. You'll have to supply your own wine. Unfortunately, we are not. We don't have the resources to provide the wine for you, but it'll be a good time. We'll have some great conversations. We'll have some great people on the stream here. It'll be a lot of surprises. Maybe we can get Miles to jump on. That would be a fun one. He streams. I met this guy Miles a couple weeks ago at this conference that is the subject of Monday's review, and he's a funny guy. I've been popping watching his live streams. Him and the guy Mo that I met that night also have kind of a podcast that they do live. A lot of fun. So maybe we'll have you guys pop in here. I can have up to 6 people on with me at the same time. So it could be chaotic and a lot of fun. You throw the wine factor in there, and it's going to be unpredictable. It's going to be a lot of fun. So let's see here. Let's jump back into the stream, see the chat, see what we got here. I covered all my business. I covered all the business here, guys, and you guys are still hanging around. So, any last thoughts on bad candies? I know, Miles, you said now and later. We talked about that a little earlier, maybe before you jumped on. Maybe we should talk about like bad overall candy. Maybe that'll be a good topic. Let's see here. Man, I wasn't expecting everybody to hold out so strong. Also, if you guys have any topics that you want me to talk about for the live stream, things that are food related are kind of optimal because it kind of is more like the content that's on the channel here. But we can like I've interviewed bands and anything you'd like to see me talk about. It could be a good thing. Like I was saying before the stream started, over the last few days, I had one of my previous live streams, the one talking about steak tartare. It wasn't very well attended in the live chat, but it got picked up in Google search, and it got like in the last 3 days, it got something like 5,000 views, which is absolutely ridiculous. It also so the channel now is monetized because we have enough subscribers. It brought in a lot of new subscribers and also like bumped up the revenue on the channel. And I don't know what the specifics are, but it like looking at it, it actually shocked me. So you never know what this is going to turn into, once it's actually live on the channel. So maybe this thing is going to turn into something that gets shared out a lot or comes up in a Google search. I know when I was asking in the community posts about like best Halloween candy, worst Halloween candy, what made me settle on the topic here tonight was the fact that I got like twice as many votes for the worst candy than the best candy. So I figured I had to strike while the iron was hot with that. But I don't want to belabor the stream. I kind of want to keep these as short as possible and to the point as possible. But if you know somebody that would have liked this, share it with them. I have instructions at the beginning to skip ahead 5 minutes. Every little bit helps. And right now we're growing at a really astronomical rate, and I can't believe it. So if you know somebody who likes food, tell them to subscribe. With that, I will leave you guys tonight. And thanks a lot for joining, guys. We will talk to you guys next week. Halloween party, Halloween party. Talk to you guys later.